5 years ago, I attended the ROMBA Conference for the first time. It was in the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic. I was an MBA student. I hadn't been admitted anywhere. And in fact, months earlier, I received a very painful rejection from a scholarship in Europe that I thought it would change everything. So I logged into ROMBA virtually, off camera, perhaps invisible, just another name on the attendee list. And I thought to myself, will I ever belong to a space like this? And now, 5 years later, I am not behind the screen. I am here on the ROMBA main stage at the largest LGBT MBA conference in the world. This is what I call a full circle moment. Growing up in Colombia, my life was shaped by the circumstances that constantly reminded me of the barriers in front of me. My mother was a cleaner. She didn't even have the chance to finish primary school because as a child, she had to work to support her family. Education wasn't an option for her. Survival was. Growing up in Colombia, I didn't fully believe in the idea that education was something that could really change my life. I didn't know anyone who had gone to university or studied abroad, let alone completed an MBA. When you grow up in a place like this, where violence, corruption, and crime are part of the fabric of daily life, where opportunities are limited and gender inequalities are pervasive, it becomes easy to accept that this is the way life is. However, somehow, I believe that I could achieve some of those things. I am a queer Latino, I am an immigrant, and English is not my first language. To pursue my education, I had to move not just countries, but continents, from Colombia to Ireland, and from Ireland, eventually to the United States. Along the way, I earned a bachelor's degree in international business, a master's in politics and international relations, and later on, a STEM MBA from the Johns Hopkins University Carey Business School as a proud ROMBA Fellow and a Johns Hopkins Fellow. But behind those academic milestones, perhaps there is a story of resilience, because for years I was reminded in every room I entered about my accent, that I was the outsider, the Latino, the immigrant, the guy with the very strong accent. Now I know that my accent is not a weakness, it's a fundamental part of my voice, and that voice, our voice, carries power. That for ROMBA Conference lit a spark for me. Back in 2020, even though I wasn't an MBA student and I hadn't been admitted anywhere, ROMBA gave me something I desperately needed: belief. I saw people who looked like me, who sounded like me, who carried stories like mine, and who were thriving in places that I thought were close. Like many of us here, my path to business school was not smooth. I applied for scholarships and funding across Europe again and again, and received rejection after rejection. Each no hit hard, each rejection shook my confidence. But through this process, I learned a very valuable lesson, and it's that resilience isn't about ignoring failure. Resilience is about learning and treating rejection as data. Every no forced me to ask, what can I do differently next time? How do I persist, not blindly, but strategically? And so, step by step, I apply again. Step by step, I refine my approach. And step by step, I built resilience into my process. Eventually, that process will carry me all the way to Johns Hopkins, where I became not just an MBA graduate, but an outspoken, aspiring leader. Someone who has learned that resilience is never the end of the story. It's the beginning of a smarter one. Back to ROMBA 2020. ROMBA gave me the courage and the network to believe that I could achieve my MBA dream. When I looked into ROMBA that very first time, I remember sending an email to someone who at that time was the Nick of the conference, and their name was Jordan. And I asked her, I am not an MBA student, I haven't been admitted anywhere, and perhaps this is only for US applicants, but I really want to attend. And I really found inspiration of attending this conference virtually from a tiny place in Dublin. ROMBA just didn't give me a voice. ROMBA gave me a community and the courage to feel proud of where I come from and feel proud about my accent and perhaps what I consider to be the things that made me insecure. ROMBA helped me to realize that those are my trademarks and that I should really feel proud about that. I know this can be scary times for all of us here. We don't know what the future will look like. Perhaps moments like these are a reminder of how lucky we are and that we should really stick together and find the inspiration in spaces like this and inspire other people. I know that some of you might be wondering, what will the future look like? For me, the future is not about our individual success. It must be about mentorship, about holding the doors open for those who come after us. The leadership must be, the organizations should be built not just on the fact that they tolerate difference. It should be about celebrating difference and expanding the mold. Leadership is not erasing your accent. It's not hiding where you come from. Leadership is bringing that forward proudly into every room you enter, because your accent, like your rhythm, is not a weakness, it's an asset, and it's the proof that you can lead differently. Like your accent, your rhythm is something that is unique to you. I know that my colleagues here have talked about the themes of this year's conference, rhythm and resilience. And for me, rhythm has never been about blending in. Rhythm for me is learning to move on your own time, to your own beats, even when the world around you tells you to change the song. And resilience? Resilience is about daring to keep showing up. Because today, in our political climate, Latinos are stereotyped, immigrants are questioned, and LGBT rights are challenged. And yet we persist, we show up, and we create space. Thank you. So to every outsider, every first-generation student, every immigrant, and every person who had doubted their place, I stand here to tell you that you belong. Not because you changed, but because you claimed who you really are. 5 years ago, perhaps I felt invisible. 5 years ago, I for sure doubted my own voice. And 5 years ago, I wondered if I will ever belong in a space like this. ROMBA gave me the security to feel confident and the community to be courageous, to believe that I belong and that you belong in spaces like this. ROMBA gave me a voice, and now I use it, and I hope you use it too. Let's keep these lights shining. Thank you very much.